Because the mind is the root, not the fruit. You don't change your results by changing your surroundings. You change them by changing your thinking. Most people wait for evidence before they believe. Champions believe first, and then they create the evidence. Do you think Henry Ford waited for the world to approve of his dream? They laughed when he talked about a horseless carriage. They said it was impossible. They said people would never adopt it. But Ford didn't need permission. He had a mind already sold on the outcome. And once the mind is sold, the world has no choice but to follow. That's the level you must rise to. You must be sold on your future, sold on your worth, sold on your vision, even when there's nothing in your life yet to prove it. Because the mind doesn't need evidence. It needs conviction. And conviction doesn't come from the outside in. It comes from repetition, visualization, and decision. Every morning, you must remind yourself who you are. Every day, you must rehearse the life you are building, not the life you are escaping. Don't study failure. Study success. Don't relive the trauma. Rewire the outcome. You are not your mistakes. You are not your upbringing. You are not the opinions of people who never dared to dream. You are what you decide to focus on. You are what you dwell on. You are what you declare, day after day after day. So stop giving your power to the past. Stop bowing to old patterns like they are permanent. They are not. A thought is just a suggestion, not a command. It only becomes real if you agree with it. But if you don't, if you reject the thought, if you replace it, if you rewire it, you take your power back. That's what this journey is about. Not fake positivity, not surface-level motivation, but mental mastery. The kind of mastery that builds legacies. The kind that turns a vision into victory. The kind that rewires every cell in your body for greatness. Do you think it was talent that made Walt Disney build an empire from a sketch of a mouse? No. It was a mind trained to believe in the unseen. A mind that saw castles before the land was bought. A mind that could already hear laughter in parks that didn't exist yet. That's how powerful your mind is when it's sold on a vision. And it's not magic. It's not delusion. It's the law. The law that Napoleon Hill wrote about over a century ago. The law that says, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But the key is in the repetition. Not once, not twice, not only when life feels good, every single day. Because repetition is how the mind learns. Repetition is how the brain rewires. You cannot dip your toes into belief and expect to rewrite your destiny. You must dive in. You must live in that belief like it's oxygen. You must eat, sleep, speak, and breathe the reality you are building before it ever shows up. Because if you don't, if you let your old thoughts keep whispering in the background, they will win. And they don't need volume. They only need permission. So take it back. Take back the remote to your mind. Change the channel from fear to faith, from doubt to decision, from limitation to leadership. This is your life. Not a rehearsal, not a warm-up, not someone else's story. Yours. And every day you delay is a day you empower the enemy of your potential. Don't just silence the inner critic. Retrain it. Don't just escape the pain. Reassign its purpose. Don't just run from fear. Use it as fuel. That's how you rise. That's how you transform. Not by waiting, but by deciding. Decide you will no longer think like a victim. Decide you will no longer be emotionally loyal to old limitations. Decide your mind is a tool, not a trap, and you're the one holding it. That decision is where everything changes. Because once the mind is aligned, the body follows. The habits shift. The words change. The posture strengthens. The choices evolve. And soon, your life begins to mirror a higher frequency. Not by luck, not by chance, but by design. You were not created to survive. You were created to dominate, to thrive, to create. And to do that, you must upgrade the operating system. Most people are running their life on beliefs installed in childhood, on fears inherited from family, on doubts picked up from society. But your mind is not a museum. It's a machine. And machines can be rebuilt, refined, reprogrammed. The only question is, will you do the work? Will you sit in silence long enough to hear your real voice again? Will you reject the noise long enough to hear the truth? Will you practice the new pattern until it becomes your nature? Because there will come a moment, a breaking point, a pivot, a day where the pain of staying the same finally outweighs the fear of change. And when that moment comes, you either rise or you repeat. And what decides that moment is not motivation, not luck, not timing. It's the quality of your thinking. So the question is not, can I do it? The question is, can I think in alignment with the version of me who already has? Because everything you want, the wealth, the discipline, the clarity, the power, it already exists, but it lives on a different mental frequency. You can't create a millionaire life with a poverty mindset. You can't build a purpose-driven future with thoughts soaked in survival. You can't live free when your mind is addicted to fear. That's why some people stay stuck, no matter how many books they read, how many videos they watch, how many plans they make. Because they're trying to build a new life with the same old beliefs. They change their schedule, but not their standards. They change their habits, but not their identity. They change their actions, but not their thinking. And eventually, their old programming pulls them right back into struggle, right back into comfort, right back into the very patterns they swore they'd outgrow, but not you. You're here because something in you is done with that cycle. Something in you is tired of being almost ready, tired of dreaming in silence, tired of hiding behind half-hearted effort and disguised excuses. You are ready to reprogram, not halfway, not sometimes, fully. You're ready to build the mental blueprint of the future that calls you. And that begins with this decision. Who must I become in thought before I become in life? Because identity is not something you wait for. It's something you install. Before the wealth shows up, you must think like someone who builds wealth. Before the discipline shows up, you must think like someone who owns their habits. Before the purpose shows up, you must think like someone worthy of the mission. Everything external begins internal. Do you think Andrew Carnegie waited until he had millions to start thinking like a leader? No. He became a leader in the furnace of adversity, when the only thing he had was the belief that he could rise. He trained his thoughts like soldiers, not once, not casually, but daily, until his mind bowed to vision, not circumstance. And you must do the same, because the world doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you're wired for. So wire yourself for greatness. Wire yourself for impact. Wire yourself for wealth, for freedom, for resilience, for unstoppable execution. And don't wait for perfect conditions. The conditions will never be perfect. The timing will never feel flawless. Start anyway. Start speaking differently. Start visualizing differently. Start walking like you were born for the mission. Because you were. And yes, the old thoughts will come back. They always do. They will try to seduce you with their familiarity. They will say, stay safe. They will say, don't risk it. They will say, it's too late. But you answer them with truth. You say, I am not who I was. I do not live there anymore. I do not owe my old thoughts anything. Because freedom isn't the absence of fear. It's the presence of new beliefs. Beliefs that dominate the fear. And let's be clear, this is war. Not with the world. Not with your boss. Not with your past. It's a war for your mind. A war for your focus. A war for your identity. And it's fought in silence. It's fought every morning when you wake up. It's fought every night when you go to sleep with either pride or regret. And the only way to win is to make your new thoughts louder than your old ones. So speak them, write them, visualize them, feel them, burn them into your nervous system like a new operating code. Because here's the truth they don't teach in school. Your mind doesn't care whether your thoughts are true. It only cares whether they're repeated. Repeat weakness, and you'll feel weak. Repeat power, and you'll walk like a king. That's not magic. That's neural encoding. You've been hypnotized by fear long enough. Now it's time to be hypnotized by vision. To feel your future with such intensity that your current reality begins to bend around your new identity. That's how you shatter limitations. Not by force, but by alignment. When your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions all align with your highest calling, momentum becomes effortless. You stop fighting for scraps, and you start commanding destiny. And the world will notice. It will feel the shift in your presence. It will hear the certainty in your voice. It will see the results in your life. Not because of luck, but because your mind finally matched your potential. So burn the old scripts. Throw out the false identities. Destroy the self-imposed walls. And understand, every thought is either building your future or destroying it. Every moment is either programming success or repeating struggle. There is no neutral. There is no pause. There is only forward or backward. So choose forward. Choose boldness. Choose the fire. Choose the thoughts that match your calling, not your comfort. Because if you keep thinking like the person who created your struggle, you'll keep repeating it. But if you begin thinking like the person who was born to rise, then no obstacle, no delay, no fear, no failure can stop you. There's a version of you the world has never met. Not because it doesn't exist, but because your thoughts haven't allowed it to emerge. Understand this. Your body is obedient. It listens to the words you speak, the images you hold, the feelings you repeat. You say, "I'm tired," and it slows down. You say, "I'm not good enough," and it sabotages. You say, "I can't," and it won't even try. But say, "I am ready," and it responds. Say, "I was built for this," and it moves with purpose. Say, "I will not lose," and it fights like a warrior. Your body is your servant, but your thoughts are the master. And if the master is weak, the servant will be confused. This is why identity matters. Because you don't get what you want. You get what you expect. You act according to what you believe about yourself. And most people are walking around with the wrong identity installed. A version of self built on rejection, trauma, failure, and fear. A version based on what went wrong, not what's possible. But the identity you live from is a choice, a decision, not a destiny. You can upgrade it. You can rewrite it. You can replace every lie with a truth so powerful that your cells wake up in alignment with who you really are. Not who they told you to be. Not who you became to survive. But who you were designed to be before the world programmed your potential out of you. You want wealth? Think like someone who commands value. You want impact? Think like someone who walks with purpose, even in silence. You want peace? Think like someone who no longer entertains chaos for attention. This is not theory. It's practice. Daily, hourly, minute by minute. Because the old thoughts won't leave quietly. They'll beg for your attention. They'll come dressed as realism, practicality, even wisdom. But all they really are is fear in disguise. And fear is the master of average. Fear builds prisons without walls. Fear repeats the story until it becomes your life. unless you interrupt it. That's your job now, to interrupt the program, to stand in the mirror and refuse to see a victim, to walk into every room and bring the energy of someone who's already decided to win. Not someday. Now. Because when you move like it's already done, the world moves with you. People feel it in your posture. They hear it in your tone. They sense it in your presence, that you are not here to play small. And don't be surprised when they pull away, when old friends fall off, when people get uncomfortable around your new energy. Growth exposes everything that isn't aligned. And when your mind starts rising, so will the resistance. But don't fear it. Welcome it. Because the presence of resistance means the program is shifting. You are literally recoding the electrical patterns in your brain. You are burning new neural pathways, carving new roads of possibility where only fear once lived. This is transformation. And it's not always pretty. It's not always loud. It doesn't always feel good. But it's always worth it. Because one day, the fog lifts, and you realize. You no longer wake up anxious. You no longer talk yourself out of your power. You no longer carry guilt for wanting more. You no longer ask for permission to rise. You just rise. And it's not arrogance, it's alignment. Because you've done the work. In silence, in pain, in discomfort. You've faced your patterns. You've confronted your fears. You've reprogrammed your mind not to escape life, but to dominate it. And people will say, "You've changed." Let them. Change is the point. Growth is the goal. Transformation is the path. You were never meant to stay the same. So today, choose the thoughts that elevate. Choose the beliefs that empower. Choose the identity that matches the calling, because the choice is yours. Always has been. Reprogram your thoughts, or repeat your struggles. This is the moment. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. Because transformation doesn't wait for comfort. It demands commitment. And the truth is, there will never be a perfect day to start thinking like the version of you who wins. There will only be now. A sacred opportunity dressed as a decision. You've lived long enough with the volume turned down on your destiny. Long enough tolerating mediocrity in your mind. Long enough watching others rise while convincing yourself to wait. But the wait is over. The programming ends here. You are not your doubts. You are not your delay. You are not your history. You are the author. And you've just been handed the pen. So write something powerful. Think something bold. Feel something unstoppable. Walk into the next hour like the chains are gone. Because they are. No more thoughts that whisper, "You're not enough." No more internal broadcasts of failure, of scarcity, of fear. You silence that station. You cut the cord. You rewire every frequency. Because when the thoughts change, the life changes. That's the code the world won't teach you. They'll say, "Work harder." They'll say, "Get lucky." They'll say, "Be realistic." But you now know. Thought is the root. Belief is the ignition. Action is the flame. And you? You are the wildfire that no fear can contain. So burn the lies. Burn the limits. Burn the old programming that told you to play small. Be quiet. Stay safe. This is your new operating system. I am disciplined. I am worthy. I am powerful. I am becoming everything I decided I would be. Say it. Feel it. Live it. Not once, but daily. Until it becomes so embedded in your mind that your future starts obeying your thoughts. Because here's the final truth. Your life will always bow to your dominant belief. So what will it be? That you're stuck? Or that you're unstoppable? That you're late? Or that you're right on time? That you're afraid? Or that fear just became fuel? Because the same mind that created the struggle can create the breakthrough. The same mind that survived can now command. The same mind that doubted can now declare. And once you reprogram that mind, you are no longer a product of your past. You are the architect of your future. No more waiting. No more hoping. No more excuses wrapped in logic. From this moment forward, you are reprogrammed. You think like a visionary. You act like a warrior. You walk like you're already free. Because you are. Reprogram your thoughts. And the struggle becomes your story, not your sentence. Your past becomes your lesson, not your limitation. And your future? Your future becomes inevitable. Because when the mind aligns, nothing can stop the man or woman behind it. So choose the thought that sets you on fire. Choose the belief that breaks the chain. Choose the vision that makes average impossible. And let the world feel the heat of your transformation. This is your time. This is your identity. This is your awakening. Reprogram your thoughts, or repeat your struggles. The choice is yours, forever.